I'm going to say the end of this, spoilers, is going to be that Devin is going to ultimately kill Maul. She's going to cut him in vertically, and then he's going to come back together and then be Yeah, no, you thought I forgot, didn't you?
Meddler's Corner! Yeah, tune in, let's go! Dropping into a galaxy far away, talking cosplayers and the roles they play. From the actors to the prop makers' art, every single fan plays a vital part. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life.
Hello, meddlers, and welcome back to our Maul Shadow Lord review. We're going to be reviewing the finale, the epic finale that just took place earlier this week. But before we get into that, let's talk about our week, guys. How was y'all's week?
Going great.
We're finally relaxing. I mean, other than Wednesday.
Other than Wednesday, trying to get celebration tickets.
No.
Yeah, so a little bit about that. So we met, and we were waiting in the queue like an hour before, and then everything just happens, and you have that little green man that's just trying to get all the way through. 2.5 hours for us. Matt, how long was it for?
He was about, I think, like almost till 5. Because I had to go to teach. No, what was Wednesday? What was I doing Wednesday? Forgot what happened Wednesday. But yeah, it was about 3 or so. And I called when I was texting you. I had called him, was like, "Hey, you okay?" Because
Please
it
tell
was
me
a
good
little
news.
stressful.
Yeah.
So,
well, apparently it was a stressful day for everyone because there were some people that didn't get tickets, and then
4
there was
hours,
some.
nothing.
Yeah. Like, so David, it sold out so fast. Like within, I want to say 30 minutes of us waiting is when I first got the message. Hey,
Where is it
VIP
again this year?
It's going to be in LA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that was the first message I got. Something happened to my computer, and I don't know. Okay, there we go. All right, good.
Yeah, I went in Anaheim. It must have been 2015, right before episode 7 came out, or whenever that was.
Long ago?
Right. Yeah. And
It was like 22.
it was super cool, but it was like, I mean, we got tickets like later. I mean, it just kind of worked out where, it was a waiting in line situation, but we did get tickets.
Yeah, because
I remember being a lot easier.
Right when we got our tickets, all the 4-day passes were completely sold out. So those that wanted 4-day passes had to buy the individual days. Those were open when I was in there. But when Matt got in there, all that was left was, I think you said Saturday was gone and Friday was gone.
Saturday was gone. And by the time we actually got to the cart, Friday was gone and Sunday. So we were lucky enough to get Thursday at least. And you know what? I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Well,
You're
it
gonna be
cool.
there.
I mean, Monday was the, holiday of our people. So, nobody wished me a happy May the 4th on Monday. It was weird. And I just recently retired from teaching, and I think everybody knew I was a Star Wars nerd, and they wished me that. And they're like, it was like, it's on your birthday, nobody wishing you a happy birthday. I felt horrible about it. So thanks for remembering. That's all I have to say.
Sorry, guys. I don't think I messaged anyone. I was at work, and then I had class later that night. So
no, but I did remember. I was like, okay, and my son and I have had this like ritual, like, hey, Monday night is Maul night. He calls it Maul Monday, and it was pretty epic. This episode was pretty great,
dude. 9 and 10
episodes. Yeah,
my gosh, they came out
9 and 10.
So much heat. So it just immediately from the get-go, it was like 0 to 100, and then all the way into episode 10. We're still putting our foot to the gas, like we're still going. So let's just start with 9. What were we feeling from 9? I have a few feelings. Poor Spybot, may rest in peace. That was actually really sad.
I know.
I started to get to like him.
Mm-hmm.
I was as soon as he cut him, I was like,
oh, poor guy.
Take something else away from Maul, why don't you?
Yeah.
And then you get reminded,
and then during their little lightsaber fight, the best pause scene. Like it was like 2 seconds. It was so fast. Just the boop, the lightsabers, and then boom, they're going right. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. And we finally got a real moment with the Inquisitors. Finally got that real ultra scary moment. You know,
right? You understand
it was a little bit of
why they were chosen.
And, you know, some people felt it was a little bit of a miss, you know, from the Ahsoka series seeing Marok. And then we got Tales of the Jedi, and people felt like, man, what a real cool looking character. But it was that, well, what did he really do? What did he really bring to the Inquisitors? And, you know, kudos to the team, kudos to the writing team and editing team, drawing team, everyone, because, man, those are some terrifying Inquisitors.
Yeah. And I think just in that whole scene, and I can't remember if it was that one or like maybe later on I actually, now that I'm saying it, I think it was the Darth Vader scene, you know, spoilers in a second here, but there was just so much choreography going on that there was like moments when like literally me and my son were both like, ooh, like we just like literally oofed. Like that was so cool because it was basically like a 2-episode choreographed lightsaber battle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I would agree.
Oh my gosh.
And it felt awesome. It was like, yes, it's to me, that's what I liked about Star Wars was that
there's somebody that has put together an Excel spreadsheet out there in the world, and please send it to me on Instagram, but there's somebody's already put together like lightsaber battles versus like time. And at some point we're hitting, because I mean, episode 3 was a long scene, but it was cut with, you know, of course, like they do, you know, so this was all like one continuous. So like how much continuous lightsaber battling time did we have on screen versus like, I want to see where this ranks, and it's gotta be first or second, at least with that episode 3 stuff.
So I guess
and that was also live action. So good for them. But also for this, it's not like they're like some editor sitting there by himself, like figuring out how everything's going to happen. I mean, they have to like literally choreograph this without somebody doing it, or they have to like have someone doing it and say, hey, make it look like this, and then they have to animate it. So there's like a 2-step process there.
I think they probably got the green screen or the green suit with the dots like they done with Clone Wars. I bet that's how I mean, because
fantastic.
To have any idea of how, unless you're like a martial artist or a saber master and you're an editor, I mean, I'm sure they were just like, no, let's just hire the people that can do it, and then we'll watch them and put the dots on them, and then translate it.
Y'all know more about form than I do, but like I see this as a more of a layman lightsaber battlist. I see like the forms of it, like, oh, this is this guy, you know, and you see that in the progression of all Star Wars characters. You know, you also see like Rey pulling out some Palpatine stuff just for fun or whatever, but you see that with Maul, that his training comes out, and you see how he holds everything. And then you see all of, especially Devin and Frog Guy, insert name, Docky, thank you, especially them. You just see the training that happens, and you see that with Obi-Wan and all that stuff, and they pull those things out and they change up their just because they've evolved, or they've, you know, just thrown stuff away, or, you know, it's so cool to see. So props to all of the artists on this production. This was like top notch, the best Star Wars production I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, same. So I just got to ask, as far as lightsaber battles, you know, we'll get into episode 10 lightsaber battle, but as far as lightsaber battles go from this episode 9, where does it rank? Are you putting it above Anakin and Obi-Wan, or is it still below?
I love Matt's eyes on these.
Because that's a loaded question. We're really going to get a lot of hate. Or,
hey, it's your opinion.
So out of all lightsaber fights, I'm gonna have to rank it 2. 1, for me, it doesn't go above Phantom Menace, Duel of Fates. I think Duel of Fates, 1, because it's nostalgic, because that's the first one I saw on screen. 2, that was like the first time we saw after the original trilogies, where it was Vader, old Vader, couldn't do as much, but was still as powerful, which we'll get into in a second. This was like, okay, this is how they used to fight. This is how it was done. And I got nostalgic from that. So episode Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon Jinn and Kenobi, Maul, that's still my favorite. But this Inquisitor, 2 Inquisitor, 3, yeah, that was just I was doing the same thing, Dave, going, oh!
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, David, where's this lightsaber fight ranking for you?
I'd say maybe like probably like 3. And I think that I'm going to say that because you have to put in the emotion of things. Like, my favorite would have to be Obi-Wan and Anakin because they're brothers. Then there was so much emotion to that. There was so much in that, because if Obi-Wan ended up beating him and beating Anakin, which he did, but like completely, then it'd be a whole different story. You know what I mean? So it's like, but so he left him. There's just so much emotion and turmoil in all of that. And Obi-Wan didn't want to do it and yada, yada. So all of that has to be the top. And then I'm going to have to say, if I can pull out a hallway scene, I'm going to have to pull out Rogue One. Just because of when you saw that in theater, you were like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, that was super cool. And so I feel like this actually, on all of this, just are reflections of those moments. Not to discount that this is so cool, because this is really
cool.
Trained lightsaber students facing each other in these different ways. And Maul even saying like, you can't, we got to just go ahead and go into 10, but just saying like, you can't defeat him because he knows. And really, he's the only Sith that was a Jedi in this kind of context that was a really good pilot, lightsaber battler, all that stuff. So he knows everything, you know what I mean?
So I'm going to have to put this lightsaber fight, as far as story goes, I'm going to say the Anakin and Obi-Wan fight is still number 1. But as far as choreography, as far as, detail and, the sounds, I'm going to put this lightsaber fight, choreography and effect-wise, number 1. But I think the way the Obi-Wan and Anakin fight will always remain number 1, it's because it is that iconic duel. It is the duel of Vader and the duel of Obi-Wan. It is the breaking of their relationship. And what was really interesting in this series that I don't think we got a lot of was how, the Master and the Padawan had this connection. There was this connection built between them. And then when Master Daki told Devin, like, hey, he wouldn't be able to enter your dreams unless you had formed a bond. Y'all had a connection. And so for me, I was like, oh my gosh, it just got me thinking back to Obi-Wan and Anakin. Like, that is why this entire fight destroyed Obi-Wan so much, to the point where he became an absolute hermit and just was like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with this, until he finally was forced. His hand was forced to come back and try to put a stop to Vader. But my gosh, incredible writing. And I absolutely loved that part where they were talking about the connection between Master and Padawan.
Well,
all right.
Can we talk about Vader's entrance?
We sure can. I was getting ready.
Man, that was a surprise. Honestly, I knew Vader was coming, but that actually how it worked, because I thought they were going to get down and you just kind of set it up like there was a monster in there. Like, so much so that, again, I always got to reference my son, because I think it's so important that there's another generation of Star Wars fans. But literally, my son's in the next chair over, and he all of a sudden, like, we get into like thing, he goes, he's got to sit with me because he's like, there's a monster coming up. Like, he knows a monster's about to come up. And it was. And I was like, he said, it's a different kind of monster. It's Darth Vader. Like, and then, of course, you see his face in the lightsaber below camera. And I was like, perfect end of that episode. And to me, I kind of wish, like, I get why they did it, because they got Mandalorian Grogu, and if they stretched this out to 10 weeks, it wouldn't have worked. I really, truly think that it wouldn't have worked. But it is a cool episode to end on, if you're like, until next week.
Well,
like,
I honestly think honestly, they could have ended the season right there.
Yeah. That's true. And then episode 1 would have been the crazy fight.
That start into it, getting into it. But I mean, for a lot of people, it would have felt maybe open-ended, but I just, honestly, we got Vader. This entire series has just been straight gas. And, as much as some people would say, the little, montage we got of Maul looking back at his memories, like, that was the filler episode. I loved it.
That was still important.
Yeah,
right?
It was still super important to the whole story, and I absolutely loved it. But honestly, if they wanted to, they could have ended it right there, but they didn't, and they gave us even more.
Well, and I think that's just proof that I think it's more about Devin as the cliffhanger and Devin as the story placement onto next season, and how she transitions over, because that, I mean, I think and in that, we're going to see Maul's pain and torture that we've obviously seen a lot during the last few episodes, and how screwed up he is because Palpatine was kind of a jerk to him just a little bit.
Yeah.
So you see all that come out in his relationship with Devin and how he's going to handle Devin. And so, this whole Sith thing is like, hey, join the dark side. We're a lot cooler. Let's do this thing, and then just be a little angrier and you'll be more powerful. But how do you get to anger? And so the training of Sith, I think if we get to see that in season 2, and I don't know if we're about to talk about season 2, but if we get to see training of Sith in all of this and how they handle things, first of all, it's going to be kind of dark, but that's going to be really cool.
Well,
so that's why I think
leads
Devin's the launcher.
And I mean, we can talk about it later too, but there's been a lot of talks, like people are like, hey, this is an absolute sign that you can give fans an R-rated Star Wars. So would they make season 2 like what you're talking about, David, and give it a little bit more of that R-rated version?
I don't know. I don't ever really want an R-rated Star Wars because unless it's its own project, but I feel like Star Wars still has that purity of, again, like my son watching it. He could still watch this. It's actually just, again, a little scary for a 6-year-old, but he's kind of pulled through. But I always do want that. I don't want it to be not serious, like Andor. Like I want it to be a good project, but if they did that, I don't know, it would be a whole nother thing. And R-rated usually comes with skin too, like unfortunately in this kind of era, and it's less about, I keep on going back to Penguin. Penguin is a good example of R-rated just because it's gross and gritty and all that stuff, but not necessarily skin. Definitely not like a Game of Thrones style thing.
What do you think,
Matt? Because I was about to comment on like the R-rated stuff. Have y'all read the comment or the interview with Roke and how she
she wanted she literally they
asked her how she wanted to die on the series, and spoiler alert if you haven't again, and she said in the interview, so I think it'd be cool if I died by my lungs getting ripped out of my mouth from Vader. And so when I read that, and then the clip goes to her scene where she gets dragged behind, and then it's like, the caption, this scream, and then it's her, her, we didn't know, but we just thought she's being chopped down. Apparently, that was her lungs getting ripped out of her body. And I was like, I don't think I wanted to know that.
Yeah.
I was, that it goes back to that R rate, like, okay, that, I don't know. I'm good. You don't need to, I don't need to know that.
It does put a little bit more of a, like, wait, why was the Empire so bad kind of thing? Like we kind of always skirt around it. We just assume they're evil and all that stuff. But if you do put into context of that death, like death is the ultimate, or murder rather, is the ultimate evil, or genocide and all those things. And you start getting into it, and that's not like PG, So you do have to kind of get around there, but
I just remember reading that and going, okay.
So
that sucks.
I mean, now that we got Vader fully in, he didn't say one word in that entire episode and was just strictly on business. And I absolutely loved that. I loved that he didn't have to say one word, but we knew exactly what he was there for. And great. If anyone else wants to say anything like, I wish he would have said a word or whatever, that's fine. But I thought it was fantastic. And we got angry Vader. We got prime Vader. And I absolutely loved it. For one of the first times in a long time since Rogue One, we finally got to see Vader at full strength and completely embrace that hate. And it was really interesting. I know you and I talked about this, Matt. And Dave Filoni mentioned, and they were like, well, how come Maul can't, be an equal one-on-one match for Vader? And Dave Filoni said it's because Vader has completely embraced that hate. Maul still has something going on in the back of his mind trying to come back forth, which is what we've talked about earlier this season. There's something still that's trying to bring him back to that light. And we saw it, when he was in those visions, when he was looking at his childhood and then looking back to his brother, looking back to his training with Sidious. There was something that was trying to reach back, but never did. But with Vader, Vader is Vader. It is not Anakin. That is 100% Vader. And so that was his explanation as to why Vader and Maul is not a easy one-on-one match. And, Maul or Vader was taking them all with one hand. And I was like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
I was going to ask, is there any one time when he used both hands? Like he was
Like
just...
there was, but it was very short, but everything else was just one hand, force, grab, or just throw.
The use of force. The use of the force, like because the path of the Sith is the force. I use it to my will, and Jedi, we bend to the force. It was nice to see that too, where you actually saw him use the force over and over, push, choke, push, pull. Like it made you okay. There is a because normally it's just like, oh well, he just chokes, or every now and then you see a force push or something. No, he was like, okay, no, this I'm the force bends to me. So whatever y'all are doing, I don't. But
well, and I mean, Dave Filoni was mentioning the character side of things, but also the canon side of things is just like what Maul said, and why he's so scared of him is because he has both sides of the training, and he's got the playbook, So, and again, like I mentioned before, but he was heralded as a good saber fighter. So much so that he defeated Dooku, who was, known, like that was his thing. Like he was a saber dude, you know what I mean? And so he defeated him. He's really good, and so, I mean, there's just no way this guy is unstoppable, except for like, I don't know, something like 20 something years from now, some new guy comes in and,
new blood,
just gets really angry and hits his hand off,
Yeah. But it was really cool. So like, we're talking about like the parallels of like previous Star Wars, some people were throwing up images of like the Acolyte when they were in the little woods area, and you had that little montage scene. And then people brought up, Return of the Jedi when Luke is just banging down on top of Vader. And then, you got to see that with Vader, what he was doing back to Master Daki. I thought that was really cool with some of the parallels that people were seeing. I don't know if they intended to do that. I thought that was absolutely great though.
I think this team is well aware, and I bet they did that on purpose. They so far through the entire season, they seem to understand that we remember.
Okay. And then
because I feel like they're just like us. Like they just have a cool mouse and a nice computer.
Yeah.
Like they're like, and some talent, so probably a lot of talent. And, but that's the difference there is that they're, again, this level of creator, they're not creating it from scratch. They are fans first, then they're creators. So they're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's just why the show just hit on all levels. It was because they took it from a fan's perspective, and they were like, okay, if we were a fan, what would we want to see? I could be totally wrong, but I think, David, you hit it right on the head. They're a fan first, which was really cool, to even just experience this kind of show. And it begs to be asked, is the future of Star Wars, don't get me wrong, I love live action. I will always be a live action Star Wars fan. But is the future of Star Wars animation? Because you can push those boundaries. You can push those limits with animation. We were talking about earlier with all of our other guests on here, we're seeing things that, what Jedi should do or what Sith should do. Those little flips, those little tricks, what a lightsaber should actually be doing. So, I mean, I just want to get a take from y'all. Is animation the future for Star Wars?
That's a good question. Based off of this series, yeah. based off of this, I would think so. And I think that if they do, I mean, and of course, there's probably gonna be more movies. I mean, we got Grogu and the Mandalorian coming up. I'm sure there's gonna be more of Rey in the future. I'm sure. Who knows? But I would think it would be a smart idea if you're going with those type of stories with canon characters like that. Maybe that should be the standard, Like, again,
Yes.
stop trying to create something for the fans and be a fan creating something for the fans.
Yes.
I think, yeah, like,
well, it also too, David hit on it too, I think, and he said it earlier in our reviews. The reason why, and I have to agree with him, I think the reason why Solo failed was because of marketing. If that movie would have been pushed differently, I think it would have been totally different in the people's minds and the people's thoughts. I will say this too, this series was pushed absolutely well, because one, we didn't get everything from the trailers. They didn't feed us everything. They didn't feed us the entire series from the trailers, but they kept us wondering. They kept us guessing. And I absolutely love that with Star Wars. I think as a fan, I always want to know more, or when a show ends, I'm like, dang, where's season 2?
Right. So I think if we're going to go to, well, first of all, your question, whether, animation is the way to go. I think if I go back to like my first episode with y'all, just talking about my levels of, stuff, remember that's a 10 on my scale of 1 to 10 is like, episode 4, you know what I mean? Everybody's seen it kind of thing. And a 1 is something like minor, like a Legends book. I still think, so I think for fans like us and for moderate fans, this is the way to go forward because you can do so much with it. I mean, even now, going back through The Mandalorian, there's some things that look a little kitschy to me because I think it's really cool that they did like the screen thing, but now I see it and then now everything looks like a soundstage. I felt like that with episode 7, like the forest scenes in episode 7. I was like, it just looks like a soundstage. The very opening scene when I saw episode 7, I liked episode 7, but I looked at that and when like BB-8's rolling over the stuff and the X-Wing and they're in the desert kind of thing before Kylo Ren comes down, I was like, for stuff like this, I think this is a great cinematic way to show these things. I still think, though, if I could be devil's advocate, for the average person, for the average Star Wars, just, kind of enthusiast, maybe, I don't know if these are going to hit that target audience yet. It's going to take a really special project to make these mainstream, because I still wouldn't call Maul mainstream. Whereas, like, I think the reason why The Mandalorian became such a mainstream hit is you got to remember that was when Disney Plus started being a big thing. And that was the first big Disney project. I mean, big Star Wars project that they did that wasn't a movie. And that had so much rise to it that people like my parents who'd never watched, I don't think they even watched 7, 8, 9. Like they were original. They watched that because it was like, oh, it's a cowboy Western. I can kind of watch this and, whatever. So yeah. I don't even think they watched season 3. So it's gonna take a really special project, and I don't know where that nexus is of why it becomes special to make this mainstream. But as far as projects like this go, where we can get a cool story about an amazing set of characters and an amazing set of cinematics, I think yes. So that was just a caveat there.
So we see Devin, moving along into episode 10. We see Devin, and she witnesses Vader take down her Master Ikodaki, R.I.P., gone too soon. But we all called it. It was gonna happen. But man, my heart was ripped because I absolutely love that character. And so where we think she's going, we see Maul give her his saber, the other half of his saber, and we see her go on the ship. And we talked about this last week, Matt. We feel like the ending is going to be, we're all going to be on the ship together, and she's just going to she's going to be on it because, well, this is all she got. And it ended like that. That's basically all she has. That's her sense of safety now is Maul and a little bit of what's left of his crew and Two Boots and Riley.
Oh my God. And then Riley.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
I was not expecting the dad to give up his life. I mean, when it got to that point, I was like, shit, yeah, he's going to have to.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that was going to be part of the plot. I was like, oh,
it was
man.
Good.
So now, other than Devin, now I'm like,
what's Riley's story?
What's he going to do? Like,
yeah.
Is he now going to be like a crime syndicate now and go up?
And then we have that story intersecting with Two Boots, intersecting with Devin, and this is all going on at the same time. And, and Son has like a little crush on Devin. And so he's trying to he's going to pull her back to the light side. But I think so he's going to be that foundational thing for her to try to pull her back into that. So Maul's going to try to get rid of him. And then that pulling him away is going to show Devin, oh, wait, there actually is good. You need to go back to the light side. And then Two Boots is just going to be in the middle of this, just as the wise voice of reason, the Yoda character in this.
Yep. So I think eventually Devin's going to find out what Maul did. Typical on-brand Maul move. He just bails out the last second. And I was like...
And then pushes him at him.
Yep.
He's like...
Yep. I was like... He's back, guys. Maul's back. There he is.
Shout out to our friend Linda, who almost slapped us the other day as we were having lunch and we were talking about. I mean, there's you
There's
kind of
a part you're gonna sympathize
you
with
get a
him.
little bit. No,
No,
irredeemable. Okay, just watch the episodes. No, I mean, you're still right, Linda. If you're listening, you're still
yeah.
right.
After
Irredeemable.
after seeing that, I was like, oh,
I was waiting for the phone or the text message, but yeah. And not to backtrack a little bit, but I just wanted we saw Vader pretty lax with Team 3 of them. Then he gets to Docky, and Docky lands the. Did anyone else when he landed the one hit on the shoulder pad? You were
landed
like,
the one
"You're
hit.
dead."
Yep,
Yep,
he
you're dead.
gone. I immediately knew. I was like, dang, how he dies. I hope it's not that bad.
Yeah, as soon as he hit the shoulder pad on Vader, I was like, "Oh, you're dead now." And then you see Vader, like his stance even like adjusted, and he's like, "Okay, I'm tired of this. You're done." Sorry, backtracked.
That's
So
cool. Yeah.
I just want to get y'all's take where we think we're going with season 2, because I'm excited for it. I thought this was the first time in a long time where we got a good story, good score, good job to the Kiners on the music behind this. Absolutely incredible. And just overall great story writing. And when it comes to Devin, I know everyone's still saying, oh, we're finally going to get a Talon. I honestly think we're just going to get a new dark side character. And I am here for it, and I would love to see that. So, David, what do you think?
I have to give kudos because I did say it was always my brother's take on Dave Filoni's project. He's not been a fan because he says, well, Dave Filoni does too much fan service, right?
Okay.
And I do admit that if you look at Star Wars recently in that lens, it's like kind of mediocre story sometimes happens, and then fan service, everybody's like, oh, that was so cool, and like, oh, Thrawn's here, you know what I mean? Which, I mean, I completely love. But it is another lens to look at this through, and I don't think that this was that at all. I didn't see in this project fan service almost at all. I saw new characters, great story.
Yeah.
The fan service would come in like lightsaber battles, but that's not like, a TIE Defender rolls over, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. It's like this is Star Wars, and he gave us Star Wars and excellent story. I think season 2 is going to be exclusively about Maul's trying to get this syndicate going, and this dumb deal that what's his name made to like get him off the planet. I'm like, so you're gonna have him kill them, but he has the power to kill you. So how's that gonna work out for you? So this whole thing is going to be about Maul solidifying his power to whatever end that we see when Solo comes in. And then Devin struggling with that, Devin getting trained as a potential Sith underling behind him to take over, because that's what his ultimate mission is to get revenge. All of that personal battle that Devin's going to deal with these other minor characters too. So it's going to be Maul, Devin figuring this out. And I'm going to say the end of this, spoilers, is going to be that Devin is going to ultimately kill Maul. She's going to cut him in vertically, and then he's going to come back together and then be Yeah, no, you thought I forgot, didn't you? No. Yeah. She's going to slice off. She's going to slice him like this, but he's going to fall down, and somehow he's going to be made back into some spider character. He's going to come back, and Obi-Wan's going to defeat him.
Yeah.
No.
I was like, where are we going with this, David?
No. I mean, I think ultimately we're going to see Maul kill Devin. I mean,
I think I was going to say,
I don't think that she's going to come back, and I don't want her to. I think that story needs to end with Maul. But anyway, that's my take on it in the end.
Or Devin just die. I don't know if Maul's going to be a killer or she just dies. It's another failed.
What's going to cause
premise.
What she could die saving young kid's son. Sorry, Donnie, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to ask you, like, where are we getting how do we think Maul's going to kill her, or why? Why would Maul take her down?
So it would probably go back to what David was saying about, or what both of y'all were really saying about the struggle she's going to have between wanting revenge for fallen master, and then Riley being the voice of, the good side, or Two Boots, the voice of reason. And I think it's ultimately going to revert her back to remembering her Jedi training and remembering that I can make the choice. He wouldn't want this. They're making sense. And then if Maul kills her, it's going to be like that, like, okay, well, I don't need you anymore. Bye. And they'll have a duel, and it'll end with her fighting, and then where the rest of them go, I don't know.
Or you have to remember. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna, is or Inquisitor kills her, Vader kills her, or I guess a third option. She likes. I don't see this at all though, but she sacrifices herself to save the others.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. It could come down to, I mean, Sith are like the whole, I think, interesting thing about the Sith and about Star Wars reflecting the evil in our culture is the absolutism. If you're not with me, you're against me. And we've seen that theme many times. That was a George Lucas theme, especially in the Clone War era. And so I think that's ultimately what it's going to come down to is like, if you can't give yourself completely over to the dark side of what I'm doing and being my apprentice, then you're against me.
Yeah, I agree.
I like that take. It's a good take. Well, guys, thank y'all for joining me on our season finale of our Maul review. So I just got to ask, where do we want to go from here? Do we want to
see you in 2 years?
Yeah, see us
on the next season.
I was playing with this, but I think it would be fun. I think we should do Matt finally watches Andor. And I'm all about it. I love Andor.
Yeah,
Andor, unless we get too political. But I mean, we got Mando and we got the Grogu coming up.
Yeah, we're gonna absolutely do that. That's already a given, Matt. You don't. But I'm doing this because you need to watch Andor.
Yeah, you know, and I actually didn't get that political take until whatever, but it's the same thing. It's the Korean War. I mean, Vietnamese War. You know, with. Star Wars. I think things don't have to always have, I mean, we kind of mentioned this, always have to have that correlation that they have to be one-on-one. I think they could just be a reflection of what is happening. But, I mean, a lot of this is just basically Nazi Germany anyway, but a lot of the Star Wars that we're going through. But, yeah, I mean, read The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. Basically, that's what Palpatine's doing or did, you know, and all those books, and it's just fun. But, Andor...
And then the Senate proceedings is just C-SPAN version of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Anyone still watch that?
Yeah. No, Andor is the most adult Star Wars that we have gotten, and it's because it's story driven. It's so much of an adult theme with these stories. And the complexities is not something that, you know, a kid's going to understand. So it's the closest that I think we would get to an R-rated, just because it's just so good. And there's some filler episodes, but really not. And I remember when we first watched it, someone that I was kind of acquainted with was like, "Oh, it's too slow. It's too slow." And I was like, "No, it's good. Don't mistake slow for good. It's okay." And season 2 does not disappoint. It is also great. Spoilers: Andor dies. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, he blows up. So, but like all these characters, we know they're all gonna die.
But like all the little snippets in the back of like all the scenes, you're like, oh, I know that. Like Matt, you're totally gonna geek out over that stuff. So
okay, I should watch it before Celebration. That will be on my.
Well, we're gonna do like a watch series. We'll do like episodes 1 and 2, then talk 3 and 4, and talk.
We might need to do maybe like half season, half season.
Yeah, half season. Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
All right, guys. Well, y'all have a good night. Meddlers, see you next time, and let the Force ignite.
Meddler's Corner! Yeah, tune in, let's go! Dropping into a galaxy far away, talking cosplayers and the roles they play. From the actors to the prop makers' art, every single fan plays a vital part. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the Force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the Force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life.